All right, let's go ahead and jump into what I wanted to work on today, which is... Oh, I should have done this the other way. I need pike. I need Moreau. And I need Shen. So what I wanted to work on today was I now finally have the ability, because I've gotten my building to level 40, to unlock my 4-star Q trials, which I've heard are incredibly difficult. Not necessarily maybe right off the bat with the first couple ones, but they do scale up pretty significantly. So we are going to go ahead and unlock all of these. And I wanted to see just how far these things really go. I would imagine if you are, a mid-level G5 player, if you have at least a 56 rare, like killing some of this early stuff shouldn't be challenging for you. Once you get through the first couple of locks here and move your way up, and these things are going to start getting into the billions of power, it should drastically change and get to be a little challenging. Now, my highest tier currently, if I go back into this, normally, since I have my 3-star trials finished, normally with the hostiles I have to kill are 5 billion power, which are not all that bad to do with, because of Janeway, Fleet Commander Janeway, that is. We covered this when we unlocked her a while back, that her skill tree does have one of these abilities here. It's not an always on ability. Is it this one? Yeah. So she decreases the opponent's base damage in Q trials, by a percentage. And if you happen to be fighting things like explorers that do mostly energy damage, and you have your Pike Moreau Chen, because Q trial hostiles are treated as level 1 hostiles for the sake of, Chen's ability. Pike Moreau Chen reduces the damage of those weapons by 96%, and Janeway subtracts the rest of it. Now, most of the Q trials also have secondary weapons, so you're not just going to just zero out all their damage all the time. They do have a secondary weapon that will do the other type, so you'll have some energy and some kinetic. Usually it's more of one than the other. So you do still take some damage. But obviously the more you can promote Janeway, that is an ability that does take rare skill points, the easier it will be for you to get through some of that stuff. Yeah, most of that ability switches over to rare credits. The first 1 or 2 they kind of give you just to get you rolling, but then it does start switching over into rares. Where am I at here? Yeah. It's already been rare for a little while here. I think starting at the 4th or 5th level here is where it switches over into rares. And obviously to keep going, you're going to use larger and larger numbers of rare currency to keep upgrading that. So let's go ahead and we'll just go Explorer on Explorer. And these first early ones should go easy just because of power. But I'm hoping to get up into the higher level ones. Now, obviously, if you do have your building up to 40 and you're able to get, these mastery tasks done and locked out, you can keep continuing to make progress. Hopefully we get a nice chunk of bonus points off that. Not really. Oh, actually, that was better than I thought. Okay, so we got about 10 million points off of that one. Yeah, not a lot here. Now this is a swarm one, which is also going to be super easy to kill. Yeah, I'm just trying just to see just exactly how far you can get in these new trials with before you start needing things like boosting. And again, Janeway's ability does make a difference. So the further you're able to take that, probably the further you're going to be able to go without having to use things like boosts. Whether it be a Cerritos buff or a Titan buff. And again, it's also going to vary based on, what ship you're using and that kind of fun stuff. All right, so we got the first level done. Rare fragments. I don't even know if I'm spending those on, if anything. Now, the other reason to wanting to do this was to hopefully improve my assessment rank a little bit. Because that was also something that we were stuck on here. We're still at 250. So we're going to have to get this up a little further to move this up, because the assessment rank is having an impact on upgrading forbidden tech. And some of these higher level ones here, like trying to upgrade because of my assessment rank, trying to promote this to the next tier is only 32%. And that's not good. And I'd like to try and get that a little higher. And that's going to require getting that Q assessment rank up a little bit first. Now, currently, you really can't get any forbidden tech above tier 11. I think the odds of success at some point end up dropping all the way to 0, which is just not all that feasible to do. Well, 0 is impossible to do, but even if it's down into the single digits, it's just realistically not worth the effort there. I'll hit a wall at some point, yeah. Then the hostiles go 100% energy. So then you got to flip and use Kath, who doesn't get you as far of a reduction. Kath only gets you into the 80s, whereas Chen gets you into the 90s. And then Janeway's ability taking another 8 or 9% off certainly drops it further, but yeah. Let's see what else we can do here. Keep going. Keep going. Corrosive, the higher you get a rank for Q trials, increase the chance to upgrade forbidden tech. They are related to each other, yes. Your percentages of being able to upgrade things is directly tied to your assessment rank. Increase your successful upgrade chances by raising your assessment rank in Q trials. Now, there is obviously a point where that does cap out at and drastically, start to lower itself. As you can see here, this one's tier 9, level 45. And because my assessment rank was 250 million, which is the tier 3 cap, the 3-star trial cap, it's only a 32% chance of success. Some of the other ones, at that same level, because if they're rare versus uncommon, might still have a higher success rate in those situations. But to keep pushing, you do need to keep getting your assessment rank up. And even if you have finished the 4-star trials, it's still not achievable to move above tier 11 and get to that tier 12 of any of the forbidden techs yet. Now, you also notice there, I just got some materials for a 5-star trial. So obviously they did leave the door open for future expansions on this mechanic. Just don't know if and when they're going to circle back and add that. We got Q trials and forbidden tech in June of 23. I think that was June or July of 23 is when that content all came out. So they're probably due for an update this summer and to get that expansion. So maybe that's when we'll see it happen is summer of 2025 here. When G7 comes out. I think they'll do it beforehand. I think they'll do it beforehand. I think they realize that, people want to be able to get that 12th tier on their techs, and you've got enough players in the high 60s and 70s now who these tasks just really aren't a challenge for them anymore with their big G6 ships. They don't have to boost to even do the highest level ones. So they're looking for a new challenge, and this could be the opportunity to answer it. Am I doing the proto matter task? No, my tasks are done. I am all done with tournament tasks. You also have to do a considerable amount of these to do it. Even with, the building at a 400% increase, I'm getting 200 plus the increase, we'll call it 800 to 1,000. To get the amount of proto matter you need is like 55,000. You have to do, we're talking 50, 60, 70 Q trials. I might have the bells. I have 45 or so, 48 tasks available at 25 apiece. So it might have been possible to do one of the proto matter ones, but we'll have to keep working on the building, which I'll admit I neglect because I don't remember to do my Q trials every day. Which is probably why my building is a little further behind on than where some of you are. Some of you are probably like, I've had my building at level 40 for months. Tibbs, what are you doing? Why are you slacking? But so far, we're cruising right through these, and these first few levels are no harder than the highest levels of the 3-star trials. So we're just flying right through these. We're just going to try and get our rank assessment above the 250 mark, just to see what kind of impact it may have, and see what kind of point we can get to where some of these hostels actually get bigger than the 5 billion that the 3-star trials max out at. Napalm, you're ops 47, your Q trial building is at 42, so you're shaming me. That's fair. Like I said, there are a lot of days I forget to do Q trials, and I certainly don't because of that, then I don't have the extra materials. I do the refinery for the tier up catalysts, but I don't have the extra materials or do use the proto matter to do the building upgrades. We're going to work on doing better with that one, though. We're going to work on doing better. In fact, maybe I can go look right now, right? Oh, wrong tab. It is here in the refinery. We would want to go to Forbidden Tech. There we go. Let's do the 2 chest pull. Get some more emblems there to keep tearing that up. And while I'm working on it, sure, let's also grab some more tier up catalysts from that piece of tech that I have now. All right, that one's getting a little beefier. We're up to 3.7. And upgrading the building here does give you some critical hit damage bonuses, which is nice. You also get the critical hit damage reduction bonus, which is also nice for things that don't have a crit floor. Having this, so when you do get shot with some critical hits, you're reducing the damage by 100% now. So you may notice when you're fighting certain hostiles and they hit you with a critical, you actually end up taking 0 damage. And you're like, wow, that's really good. Because those hostiles don't have a crit damage floor, and your building is at level 40, giving you that 100% damage reduction. Similar to how it used to be when you would hit Zindi hostiles and you didn't have the damage floor, and suddenly you'd be like, oh no, I'm doing 0 damage, and they are kicking the crap out of me. This is not good. We're only up to 242. We're getting there. We're getting there. But just to circle back to what I was saying earlier about Janeway's ability and Pike Moreau Chen and that kind of stuff. We look here, the fight only goes 2 rounds. But you can see that first shot, 0 damage. 0 damage. 0 damage. Critical, 0 damage. Alright, that hit me because this is a different type of weapon. We go into round 2, 0 damage. 0 damage, and I killed it. And that's the combination there of Pike Moreau Chen reducing the energy weapon damage and Janeway's ability. Alright, so now we're up to 283. And if we just go check our Forbidden Tech upgrades, we went up a little bit, right? It was, what, like 32%? Now we're up to 38% because my assessment rank started to climb again. I'm now up to... Whoops. 283, because that's the highest value that I've completed on one of my trials. So we're up to 283. We moved up into the 250 cap, which is what you're capped at here at the 3-star. You're capped at 250. Now we've gone up to 283, and I improved my tier up percentage by like 6%. And let's keep going. What if you used Pike, Kath, and Chen? Chris is correct. You would reduce both sets of damage, but neither of them would go all the way to 0. We have a chart for that. Let me go find it. There is a very old chart that I have saved exactly for things like this. Kath versus Talon. This is the old chart. So you see here when you have Pike Moreau, Talon, and Talon was tier 5, you can see the modifiers there, and you're reducing 74% of the damage. I didn't make this chart. I forget who did, but shout out to whoever made this 5 years ago. And if you have Pike Moreau Chen at tier 5, you take the damage all the way down to 96%. If you have Pike, Kath, and Talon, and they're both tier 5, no, wait, that's the wrong one. This is Pike, Kath, and Talon. That's taking this down 20%, this down 25%, results in a 93% reduction to the energy weapon, which is the highest you... I'm sorry, to the kinetic weapon, which is the highest you can get it, is 93. Actually, I don't think they did a combination in here with Pike, Chen, and Kath. No, we didn't. And they didn't do a Chen and Talon either. Well, you'd still reduce them probably into the 80s on both, because you're not getting the bigger boost from Moreau. So it'd be right here, basically. And instead of Talon Actually, be even less than that. So you're reducing them all mediocrely. With Pike's ability and whatnot. So, yeah, they both would go down, but you would still take some damage from each. And you're probably still better off zeroing out as long as the whatever shots, whatever one you're getting hit more with, whatever weapon they're hitting you more with, you're probably still better off zeroing that weapon out. All right. Now we just broke 300 million on our assessment. And now we've gone up to 43% almost. So we're making steady improvements here. Every hostile we kill keeps moving this Q's favor up here. So tiering this up will become much more realistic here in a few minutes. Yeah, and you definitely need Fleet Commander Janeway for the higher level ones to take the rest of that damage away. Whoa. What the heck happened here? Or is that a graphics glitch? We killed the freebooter super easy. We killed that thing super easy. What the heck happened here? Oh, this one's 15. I didn't even notice that. I wasn't even paying attention. That one's 15 billion. Yikes. So this fight went 11 rounds. So this is where we're kicking in here. The fight took too long. And it's got... So now you're talking about these 1, 2, 3. And now it's got more shots with the other weapon. So I'm zeroing out those. Oh, it's kind of alternating here. So this is what we were expecting to see with some of these bigger targets. Now it's kind of alternating more, so I'm taking a considerable amount of extra damage from these secondary weapon types. And it also boosts its critical hit damage by 60% for the first 5 rounds of combat. So I did not zero out that critical damage either, because it happened in round 3. Doing a little better here. Now that we're up into round 5 here, see that critical got zeroed out. But some of these other shots, they're definitely hurting. These are definitely hurting. All right, let's go back and repair. Yep, and now we're up to 16 billion. Another one of these faction hostiles. So this might be something that I would have to buff up for, potentially. Yeah, I'm sure a Cerritos boost or a Titan boost would be enough. If I also had this up the rest of the way and had the extra below deck slot, that might also help as well too. What am I using below deck? Hugh, Balana, Paris, and Kim. Because I'm on an Explorer and I want the morale. That's if you use max fortification for your Titan. Yes, it counts as 12,000 points being spent. So max fortification with the Titan completes both. Wherever those are. Did I already do mine already today? Oh, no. Yeah, the max fortification here counts as 12. You're spending 12,000 currency, so it completes both of these dailies. So, let's see what we can do here with a Cerritos boost. Oops, that's the wrong screen. All right. And this would be a thing where, like, maybe you want to activate an exocomp to get a little extra weapon damage. Because even if you can save a round or two, with the amount of times these things shoot, it can really add up. This could also be a situation where if I had that 5th below deck slot, maybe I add Hue or pick Hue below deck, so I'm now repairing some of the damage it's doing each round to me. So again, I'm taking less damage. I'm taking less damage overall, which will affect your assessment rank, your bonus scoring. So let's see here. We just throw a little Cerritos boost. We killed it. And we actually didn't take much damage at all. So the Cerritos boost was certainly enough to help have a much larger impact, for sure. Fight still goes 11 rounds, which is interesting. But I am also, seems like I'm mitigating a little higher too from some of this base damage. Where's my calculator? That's the 72%. I don't feel like I got 72% last time. And that could be the Cerritos, just adding just enough here. Well, maybe. It's close. Okay, we did still mitigate 72%. Okay. Yeah, I guess that is it. The shields just stayed up throughout the fight. The shield recharge and stuff. So then I just took a lot less hull damage by having that Cerritos boost. Yep. Now we're looking at 20 billion. All right. Let's see what she got. Let's see what we can do. In the meantime, that also boosted my assessment rank a little bit further. We're up to 330. So we're getting there. We're making good progress. Almost up to 50% chance. That'll probably still cap out at like 60 or 70%. But then you start getting into that point where, okay, it's at least reasonable. It's better than a coin flip. And even if I do fail, then the benevolence also kicks in. Okay, that one took a lot more. That one took a lot more. We're not going to be able to get another one without repairing. So these things are definitely starting to hit harder here. And if we go look at our battle log, see now the fight's taking more rounds here. So even some of them, you know, where I am still zeroing out the weapons, which is nice. And some of these rounds I'm taking the 0 damage altogether, but the weapon that may be alternating, that kinetic weapon that's alternating rounds, it looks like here so far, even though I'm again mitigating a good percentage of it and keeping, you know, the shields are absorbing a lot of it and a little bit of apex barrier kicking in as well, I am still getting, you know, 60 million hull health here when those shots do go through, and that does add up. Now I do get to repair a little bit of it. I got 2 million back of the 60 million that they took away from me. So that is, we're having an officer like Hugh below deck in an extra slot if you have 5 or 6 slots. you could certainly repair some more of that damage. Obviously, in here we get to some nice little runs of these even numbered rounds. It's just all energy weapon. So Chen's just reducing all the damage to 0 during the entire even round. But when we move to the odd number rounds is where I'm getting hit with some of these bigger guns. And since it does have a lot of hull health and whatnot, and if I were using something that was also boosting my damage output, like another exocomp or like a Titan boost, or something with the max fortify to give extra shots, we might be in a position where I'd end this fight a little sooner, which would also take a lot less damage. Because these odd number rounds are really cooking. So, definitely some things to kind of keep an eye on here. We're not going to continue with this. I don't want to keep using up trial rankings and whatnot, but we moved our assessment rank from 250 up to just under 343 here. So went up almost 100 million points before we kind of hit the wall here. And obviously, if I need easier dailies to do for my Q trials, I can always go back down to my 3-star trials, or I could move over here and start the 4-star trials for the other ones as well, which again are also going to start out at some of these lower values. For the interceptors, I'll probably flip and put Cath on instead, just because they're more likely to have kinetic weapons as opposed to energy weapons, but we'll have to wait and see there. Cath is an officer that seems to have limited sourcing. Yes, Cath does have some. I mean, Cath is buried into this recruit bundle with everybody else here in the ultra recruits. There's 70. I think last time I counted, there were 77. There's probably more than that now. But Cath is in here. So let's see what we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 full rows. 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 63, 66, 68, 70, 72. There are 72 rare officers in this ultra recruit pack. So the odds of, pulling any one specific officer in here out of your rare bundle is less than 1%. Even if you are sort of 50-50 split on this, maybe it's just over 1%, 1.25%, 1.33%, something like that. That's a pretty low value for sure. And just to demonstrate, because I'm bored, let's open this right now and find out what we get. I took off the animation. Still going to take a while, though. Skip it. Okay, a couple lucky rare pulls. Not the right lucky rares, but hey, Kira's a good one to tier up. 5 of 11 being maxed, finally. Okay, there we go. Quark, Rom, Pick, Picard, woohoo. Yeah, Lorca got a few more. Hugh's getting a little closer there. That's nice. Some of these other officers. We got 6 Cath shards. We opened 40 chests, and we pulled 6 Cath shards. So obviously, definitely a challenge getting her to that final tier. At tier 4, she's still better than Talon. She's 21%, where Talon maxes out at 20%. So if you can get her to at least tier 4, you're seeing some better returns there. But she's definitely harder to take all the way to the finale. Oh, I do have animations still on. You're right. I didn't turn them off on this account. Because I had that whole big speech about, no, I like the way when you build a new ship and it comes out of the dock the first time and you get to see it and it's all cool. Yeah. Oops. But where are we at? So we went up about 100 million points. And that took us from 32% up to about 50% to try and tier this thing up. And what would the tier up get me? Because right now I'm at tier 9, level 45. So this is where I'm at. And if I do get this tier up, I get no new benefits directly from the tier up. Interesting. But as I slowly progress, I get a little more crit damage, a little more base damage went up that tier, a little more hull health, a little more crit chance, and then a little more crit damage at the final level there. So not a whole lot of improvement, but some subtle little tweaks that, again, sometimes in those longer fights, 10, 15, 20 rounds, they do add up and make a difference. So, Mushy, thank you very much for the follow. Mountain Druid, thank you for the follow earlier if I forgot to call that out.